looks like Eliza's is here also. It looks like I need to check on the status of reunification counseling. Has that been started?
Yes, Your Honor, it has.
All right.
Yeah,
good.
it has.
And how many times have you had counseling?
So I went to the initial counseling, and then Savannah's gone once. And I don't know how many times Elisa's gone, but they're supposed to go to one together tomorrow.
Okay. So it sounds like that's moving forward then.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. White, any comment on the reunification counseling you'd like the court to know?
Well, there's one thing. I'm having the price of it is like I'm a single parent paying child support for Sydney and Savannah. And it's really hard right now to even, make it. So it's hard for me to come up with payments for this. To be 100% honest, during the winter, I was working part-time at shelter, but as well as, what I do full-time, but it's hard, paying child support for both girls and, doing it all by myself. It's a lot.
Have you talked to that organization where you're doing the reunification counseling about potential sources of funds to assist you?
Yeah, she actually asked me initially why Savannah's insurance is not being charged, because Savannah has insurance and and I told her basically because it was just court ordered that I pay for it, but yeah, because months ago, I was in a better situation to do it, because I could have paid months ago, but now that things have changed.
Is the insurance through Mr. White?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. White, I'd like you to submit a claim to your insurance for your wife's part of the payment or your daughter's part of the payment and see if they'll cover it. If not, then Ms. White will continue to be responsible, but I think we should make that effort. Okay.
I appreciate
that.
Yes,
sir.
If there's any co-payments,
how is that teaching her? Sorry to interrupt. How is that teaching her a lesson and how she needs to put herself out there to help her kids if I'm just covering her because she doesn't want to go get an actual job?
Well, she doesn't have access to the children right now, except through reunification counseling. It's going to be a bit of a journey to get through that. I think
I understand that.
I think that is part of what we're going through here. So it's better in the courts, in my mind, that the reunification counseling occur rather than somebody not participate because they can't afford it. So I want you to make the claim. If there's any co-pays, then Ms. White is responsible for those. And if it's not covered, then she remains responsible.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, sir. All right, I'm going to set a review, but a ways out. I think we can go 60 days out. Let's go to July 27th.
Your Honor, can we do it a month out to see how, because it's only been going a little bit, and I'd rather have to check in with you and make sure that you're, that this is getting done, because that's the only reason why it's been getting done, Your Honor, is because we've been checking on it so much.
Right? Again, I'm working full time. I don't have time to be checking in every 30 days. Or if you're working too, then why aren't you paying for the counseling?
Don't talk to each other here.
Yeah.
And Your Honor, since the reunification counseling has started, he actually hasn't allowed me to talk to her on the phone even. He's cut all contact again. I have multiple text messages, multiple calls that it's just
What was the prior order on phone contact?
Well,
that was cut off when she lost her visitation.
Your Honor,
the
that's
judge's orders.
It's just been hit and miss whenever he wants to let me talk to him. Basically, whenever him and his girlfriend break up, I get to talk to my daughter, and then they get back together, and then it's a yo-yo. It's a game, and I'm done with it. I'm so sick of it, Your Honor. I just want.
Usually when there's reunification counseling, it means there needs to be some steps taken to reconnect with your child, and that needs to be done through that counseling. Here's what I'd like to do. I'll split the difference, I guess, with both of you. Let's come back on July 13th. If there's any notes or report from the reunification counselor, I'd like them filed with the court prior to July 13th so that I can review those. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Otherwise, go forward the way you're going forward. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Hello?
Thank you. I hear, are you in a Zoom booth? Mr.
Yeah.
Ash? All right. And Kristen Ash is here. All right, Mr. Ash, you brought a motion for adequate cause. Do you want to go ahead and argue that motion?
So I don't really know where to go from here. I had like a free counsel with like the Northwest Justice Projects. I just want to start seeing my son, and it's been like a year and a half since then. I just got through a year clean of, sobriety, and I started a new job. So I just needed to know what I needed to do to go forth with seeing my son.
You've looked at the current parenting plan that was entered November 5th, 2021?
I've read over that one. Right now I'm currently waiting to get my paperwork from Core Health so I can turn it into you guys. That has like my SUD evaluation on it. It has most of my UAs on it. Since I would say since like last September, I stopped doing the SUD because I got a job in Castle Rock, but I've still been maintaining the mental health with them. I see a peer every Friday, and I see my mental health counselor every Tuesday.
All right. Well, it looks like this is phased, and I guess I'll read it so we all know what it says together. The father must comply with all testing and treatment required in Section 4. He will not consume any alcohol or illegal drugs 8 hours prior to his residential time with his child or during his residential time with the child. He will submit a UA exam on Thursday, that would have been some time ago, providing he has no trace of alcohol or drugs prior to his residential time. And then again on Monday, to provide proof that he was not drinking or doing illegal drugs during his residential time. If he completes phase 1 of testing and all visits, then he will move to phase 2. The visits apparently on phase 1 are Wednesday from 5 to 8, supervised by Corey Searle, and every other weekend, Friday 6 and ending Sunday at 10. The child will not be allowed to be transported to any other location during the supervised visit without consent of the mother. And it looks like the weekends are also supervised. So who, help me out here, who is Corey Searle?
Corey Searle is, he used to be a millwright with me at Pack Fiber. He got us going to church, and Christian agreed with him to be the person to supervise the visits. He no longer lives at the house in Kelso, and I don't even think he works at Pack Fiber no more. He has a place out in Winlock. But we did a supervised visit. I would say right before Christian stopped letting me see Jordan. We did a supervised visit at Corey's house, so I don't know if what that counts for. But I needed to. Christian has had no contact with me when I've tried to reach out to talk about who could do a supervised visit. So we'd have to come to an agreement to who could do another one. Because I know Corey is no longer, at that resident. He has a house out in Winlock. And I don't have any contact with him.
Do you have a recommendation of another supervisor?
My mom in Castle Rock has agreed to do it. She's a social worker. And as far as I haven't had any chance to ask Christian about who would be a good one, because she hasn't gotten back to me on any time I've reached out to her. So I recommend my mom in Castle Rock.
What is her name?
My mom's name is Cody Becker.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me hear from Ms. Ash, and then I'll let you respond. Ms. Ash, what is your position on this?
Castle Rock is a bit of a drive. I do work
5 days a week, along with other appointments that I have for the kids and myself. On the weekend, it would. I live in Longview. I know it's not an extreme drive, but I have most of my time accounted for with other things.
How do you feel about Mr. Ash's mother being the supervisor?
I think it would be fine. It's not his mom, it's his dad's ex-wife, just to clarify that. I would be fine with that, provided that.
Let me ask it this way. How do you feel about Cody Becker being the supervisor?
I wouldn't mind, but I'd really like to see him follow through with the things he signed and said he would do first.
Okay. Well, sounds like he's doing some evaluations at Core Health. But we don't know what the results of those are, whether they are recommending treatment. So, Mr. Ash, we're going to do this in a couple step process. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to work with me on that.
Okay.
Whatever evaluations you've done at Core Health at this point, or will do in the next week, say the next week, I want you to provide a copy of those to the court. That means you get a copy, you bring it to the clerk, and you file it what's called under seal to keep it private.
Okay.
And they will help you put a cover sheet on it so that happens. All right. And then by Monday, I want you to do a UA and provide that result to the court.
Okay.
All right. I'm not going to order visitations at this time. I'm going to order that we come back on, let me look at my calendar, on June 8th.
Okay.
So that's 2 weeks. And I'm going to want to see the evaluations and hopefully a clean UA. And then we will look at supervised visitations at that time. And we'll have to discuss transportation so it's not completely onerous on one party or the other. Okay?
I live right next to Christian, right down the street from Christian. So I can also help with the providing of transportation with their own vehicle. I can even provide gas money to Christian if that's the case too, or just anything I can help out with.
I have concerns about Sierra's presence in the house.
Okay, well, we'll discuss that next time. Right now, I just want to make sure that Mr. Ash is moving through the treatment and evaluation requirements that are in this parenting plan. Let me just tell you, I'm going to stick to the existing parenting plan.
Okay.
So as we move through these processes, the court's already entered that. I don't see any need to change it. So we're going to have to comply with it.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So we'll see you both back here on June 8th?
Yep.
Well,
I don't see either of them either, Your Honor. But I think this is just to review either way to make sure my report got to you.
It didn't. It's not in the court file.
When I was on the docket last week, so I sent it because I was on mobile. I was using mobile at the time. So when I pulled up the email address, I sent it to the old court email addresses. So I've been flagged as spam. You can't get my emails until I work with IT to get unflagged again. So I did deliver a bench copy yesterday. When I put a new one in the file, when I rushed to the courthouse, I forgot a sealed cover sheet. So I had to bring it back with a sealed. I did send a bench copy yesterday to you when I sent you an email saying you didn't get it still.
All right. That didn't show up on my desk yet. It's probably in process. I am concerned that the other thing that I expected after our last meeting is that you would bring a copy up to the court and file it in the court file. And that hasn't happened. So
Your Honor, when I brought the bench copy also yesterday, I resubmitted with the sealed cover sheet. So there is a copy there and a bench copy for you, Your Honor. Sorry, I didn't mean to not clarify that.
Okay. Are you in touch with the parties at all?
Well, and that I am in touch with Mother. Mother, I spoke with her last week. She's been working to obtain new employment. I knew she had job interviews coming up this week. But my communication with Father has been only a couple of times in the last over a year I've been on this case, Your Honor. It initially started out that I was appointed as private pay, but neither party has had employment, at least not gainfully, for any period of time. I had to bring it back to the court a couple of times to request that a new order be entered, which was county pay, so I could get started working because the financial difficulty was too much. I did reach out to Father several times. I had sent my initial paperwork to both of the parties. Both of them had theirs returned to me. I was able to get a hold of mother. Father, I was never able to reach. I attempted the email address and phone number that mother had for him and the address that was in my order and got nothing. When we were at the end of the case and the court was saying, go ahead and finalize, he appeared on the docket and the court said, go ahead and give him extra time, give him the full normal amount of time that you would give for a GAL investigation. I spoke with him back and forth several times to be able to get my paperwork to him and get a new email address started. We scheduled an intake. During the intake, the call was cut short and I heard from him via text 1 or 2 times after that and nothing since. I then went back to the court, asked if I could complete it as is. And then the court gave mom 90 days to try to get served. And then we came back before you 2 weeks ago, Your Honor. So that's kind of where that's wound up, is I've not been able to get a hold of him or get any contact back. I've not heard from him since you asked him to contact me. I gave him my phone number on the docket. I've just gotten nothing.
Okay. I see on March 17, 2022, there was a order for county pay at that point.
Yes.
All right.
And I did proceed forward, but he did not respond. And so months later, when he appeared on the docket, I did ask the court, the initial order put a big financial responsibility on someone with no job. I asked the court to give him a little bit of leeway because he had a big financial barrier that he didn't know was lifted. He got the extra time. We did an additional like 60 or 90 days after that. But before we even came back.
All right, Ms. Gravina, I'm going to put this over to June 8th.
Okay.
And that's so I can see the report that apparently you filed yesterday or submitted again to the court clerk, and let the mother know, and whatever text or email options you have, whether or not you think they're working, if you could try to let the father know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And let's come back on June 8th. I really can't do anything today until I see your report.
Okay, absolutely, Your Honor.
Ms. Powers is here on that. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Powers, why don't you lead us off today, okay?
Thank you. Your Honor, we're here to address child support today. The court had asked the parties to provide financial information, which they did, and then we drafted worksheets. Our proposed worksheets that we mailed to the father were returned to us as undeliverable. And so I'm prepared to go forward today, but I wasn't sure if the court would want Mr. Estrada to give us a new address so that he has an opportunity to look at our worksheets before we proceed. He's not the obligor parent, so I don't know if that makes any difference, but I wanted the court to be aware of that up front.
Mr. Estrada, the calculation by the Division of Child Support is that the support payment is $282. Is that something that you'd want to look at closer and potentially challenge, or is that an amount that you're willing to accept?
I'm just curious.
It's the mother paying the father support, so the mother would be paying $82. That's
what I understand.
I went to the courthouse and I got a copy of the worksheet on my own because I knew that there was an issue with the mail. My question would be, is it's based off my new income, correct? Not my previous?
We use the 2022 employment security data. The new wage stubs that you provided showed a significantly reduced income. We weren't sure the reason why there was that big reduction in income, and so we went with the 2022 income.
Yeah, so that's my concern is I sell cars and interest rates are up quite a bit and my income has declined significantly. And so that's why I submitted 3 current pay stubs with my current income, which is, a third of what I used to make. So that's my concern there is I don't have any way of recovering that previous income at this time until the market changes, which could be years,
Your Honor, if I may, if we are basing it off of those taxes, though, my income shows a larger amount than what my current was reported to. So, I honestly don't know that it would change that much. And you know what I mean? So like what I am bringing home now and what I submitted on my pay stubs versus what I was showing on my tax returns is about a third. So I'm not really sure that it would make a huge difference. In fact, it might even hinder my having to pay anything.
Ms. Powers, it sounds like, I guess despite your best efforts to get updated information, there may be additional updated information that your office should consider. Are you willing to do that?
Well, I did consider the wage stubs that both parties filed on May 8th. The mother's wage stub was hard to follow, and so it felt more accurate to use her average hourly wage that she's earned the last 3 years, which is where we imputed her. And then we certainly could rerun worksheets with the father's lower income. All that's going to do is reduce the mom's child support obligation. So
yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying.
All right, Mr. Estrada.
I don't want it to drag on any further, so that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that was taken into account, but I'd like to move forward.
Okay. All right. So the child support order requires the mother to pay Mr. Estrada $282 a month, and I'm going to approve that order.
I believe that, Your Honor, there is some back support owed to me. I don't know how that works. As if they want to remove that burden from Mr. Estrada and have that account for what my payments are starting out, or leave that currently with him paying to me and paying back and forth. Either way, I just want to make sure I'm doing the right things.
I think, go ahead, Ms. Powers.
Parties could certainly contact DCS and figure out with them how they'd like to account for that. It is true that the father is currently paying back support.
I also want to just mention that, we're still trying to establish, official rulings on custody and visitation. So I feel like this is going to keep going back and forth. Again, no rebuttals or anything from myself. I just know that this isn't something that's resolved officially in this moment. Everything on my paperwork says temporary. And it's just one of those things that, with more and more things at every single turn being filed against me, it's just an interesting position to want to have things done with. But, I keep getting things thrown at me that I have to do. I'm certainly not trying to drag this out.
All right. There was a temporary parenting plan entered on January 19th. Typically, the parties would move to a trial for a permanent parenting plan. And you would do that by putting this on the universal trial setting docket. Ms. Height is here. It looks like she may be the, are you involved in this case, Ms. Height?
Yes, I am, Your Honor.
Are you in a position to have this go to trial in the next few months, or would you need?
Well, yes, I am. The critical piece that we're waiting for is the domestic violence evaluation that's to be done. And that is, as you can see by the case, a very critical part of how we move forward. And despite all of Mother's best efforts, this has been a slow process. And it always is, it seems to me. Once that's done and evaluated, which I would say, if knowing how they move, I would say it would be unlikely to have anything done within a month now, because we haven't heard it. I haven't been contacted for collateral information. So I know that there are ways out. So when you say, could it be done in a few months? I think yes, but probably not within the next couple of months. Even though I agree with all parties, we are all ready and eager for this to be settled and established for those two children, for Sebastian, rather.
I want to set another review for June 29th, just to check the status of the domestic violence evaluation. Once that's in, then I think the parties, and I can do it from this docket, can put you on the universal trial setting docket so you can get a trial date to get a permanent order in this case. And,
okay, thank you.
So that hopefully will help move things along a little bit.
Your Honor, did you say June 29th?
June 29th. I think that's a Thursday. It is. Taylor Young is here, and Mr. Camisa is here. Let me start with Ms. Corey. Have you had a chance to investigate this case? And if so, where are we at?
Well, I have not. And neither party has, as of yet, made effort toward paying the GIL fee. I have received completed intakes from both parties, and I did also make arrangements with them to pay the fee in lesser payments. I have not received any payment from either party as of yet.
All right. Mr. Miller, are you planning on making that payment?
Yeah, it's just slipped in my mind. I've just been busy. I can make it by Monday or today.
All right, thank you. Ms. Young, are you? Go ahead.
I did speak with Ms. Young yesterday. I apologize. And she indicated that she has a payday early next week and hopes to be able to make a payment time. However, I'm thinking that this has really been a struggle for both of these folks, and we learned that county pay was not an option. I hesitate to keep that offer of partial payments because this has been so difficult too.
I'm not sure what you mean when you say you hesitate to keep the offer of partial payment. Are you looking for full payment?
I would say that if I don't receive the agreed to payment within the next week from both parties, that I would have to rescind that offer of a payment plan and ask for full payment.
I saw the declaration from Victoria Miller. What happened regarding the visit this Saturday, last Saturday? Mr. Miller, you can respond.
Well, I tried to explain it last time that my sister just didn't want to have anything to do with it. And then you told me that she had to fill out the declaration stating that she didn't want to do it. And that's where we are at.
Okay.
I did find, I believe I have somebody else that's willing to do the visits. So.
Who is that?
My next door neighbor, Cassie.
I don't know who that is.
I need some information. So, Mr. Miller, don't tell me the address, but where do you live? What city you live in?
Longview.
Okay. And Ms. Young, where do you live?
I live in Olympia.
You're in Olympia. Okay. And I saw a previous order where you did exchanges at GC's truck stop. Do you know if that's something that would be still be available?
I feel Centralia is even. It's a middle way from Olympia to Longview.
No, we can still do Gigi's truck stop.
And is Cassie, I'm not saying I'm going to agree to Cassie, but are you saying Cassie is willing to do that, be part of that transportation?
The transportation or supervised visit?
Well, supervised visits.
Yeah.
And
the transportation, yes.
Okay. All right. Ms. Young, I'll give you a chance here and give your attorney a chance. Mr. Camisa, do you want to address where we're at?
Yes, Your Honor. Given there seems to be a continued issue with the supervised visits, if Ms. Miller is largely unavailable to supervise, I was going to propose Ms. Young's grandparents be the supervisors.
Yeah, right.
There doesn't
my daughter from me last time.
Mr. Miller, you need to remain quiet when the other party is talking. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Camisa.
Thank you, Your Honor. I mean, given that it looks like Ms. Miller is likely going to be ruled out as a supervisor now, I think having the grandparents step in is likely in the party's interest, given that we need to find someone to do the supervision. There's no real reason why they cannot do the supervision. I understand Mr. Miller doesn't want them, but at this point in time, there's no necessarily reason or even provable reason why they can't step up as the supervisor at this junction.
Where are their grandparents located?
Centralia. That's where the original place was that Victoria would meet us at. And Cameron knows that is a safe environment. He knows that. Everyone knows that is an okay place for my child to be.
All right. Let's give Mr. Miller an opportunity to respond.
No, the grandparents, I'm not comfortable with it because when all of this whole stuff started, the grandparents were the ones who, manipulated me to give my daughter to them. That's 3 times running that they have done that to me. No. That is not even.
Ms. Young, you need to remain quiet. I don't understand what you mean by they manipulated you to get the granddaughter to you. What does that mean?
Okay, so like literally a week and a half before school started, the grandparents came down, asked to see their granddaughters, shoved her in the car, and then took right back off to Centralia. Oh, I still have the text messages that I will be putting in today from the grandfather, stating that I don't have any rights to my kid. She needs to be with the mom. I messed up somehow. That Malaya is not going to be coming back to me. Oh, yeah, that's all from Jim Bartley. So absolutely not. And if they don't want to have Cassie do the exchange, I'll be more than happy to go with an actual legal person at a facility that I'll have her pay for.
Tell me a little more about Cassie. How old is she?
She's about 35, maybe. I know she's in her between 30s and late 30s. How old is she? She's 33. What's your last name? Salisbury is her last name. And she's the girls' youth group. What? The girls' youth group leader at church. She's willing to do it. She said she's willing to do it, but it would have to be next Saturday. I'm willing to do Zoom this weekend. I'm going camping. I'll try to find some time. I'll try to find the service so they can talk on Zoom. But Cassie said she'll be willing to do it next week to start the supervised visitation.
Ms. Young, you've heard this discussion. I guess I don't want to make a decision unless I give you an opportunity to make additional comments.
I do not know who this is, and the fact that Cameron doesn't even know her age or her anything, and that's the trusted person for supervised visits, I don't understand that. I work, I have my own place. There's absolutely no reason I should not be able to see my kid, nor my child loves her grandparents. If it is at my grandparents' house, she'll be able to see my mother, me, and her family all under one roof. It is a safe, clean environment, and he knows that. And everyone knows that. And this is starting to be about a month and a half of me not seeing my kid. I don't know what's being said on her end on why she's not seeing me, and I need to be able to see my kid.
All right, I agree with that.
Cameron his options. He's had multiple chances. I did it with Tori. I did it with everyone. I gave him his options, and it's not working, and I would love to try my way, and that is to be at my grandparents' house. And I don't need supervised visits because we wouldn't leave.
I'm going to accept Mr. Miller's statement, though, about the grandmother's or grandparents' attitude towards him, which creates.
He's threatened my grandparents. He's threatened to kill my grandfather. He's done all these things, and they've done nothing. They never kidnapped her, ever. They never just took her from him. He just does this when he doesn't get what he wants, and everyone has to pay for it. This is what happens when things don't go his way. He takes the people who love Malaya away from her when it doesn't go the way he wants it to. And that is just the truth.
So yeah, I will be putting in my text messages from the grandfather today, so we can get all of that cleared up.
I also have text messages and stuff. I only received that Cameron forged his sister's signature, and the statement is not correct.
That's falsely wrong. So I'll have my sister come to court next time too, I guess, and get her under oath and have her explain that part too.
All right. Let me go back a bit. The parties had and have a temporary parenting plan in place, which gives unsupervised visits to Ms. Young every other weekend. Then the issue with Drew Stewart came up, and out of an abundance of caution, the court suspended those visits in order to investigate the relationship between Drew Stewart and Ms. Young, and to make sure that Mr. Stewart was not in a position to cause any harm to Malaya. I appointed a guardian ad litem because of some delays in payment and other things. I really don't have a report or any indication from the guardian ad litem as to what is in the best interest of Malaya and what's going to keep Malaya safe.
Malaya,
I'm sorry. So
I haven't had contact with Drew ever since. There's a no contact order.
Ma'am, let me just keep going. I need to sort my thoughts, and it takes me a little while to think through them. Okay. All right. So at this point, the court feels that supervised visits are still warranted until we get to a point where I know that Malaya is going to be safe. When we initially set up supervised visits, Mr. Miller indicated his sister would be willing to do that. She's now said she wouldn't. And so we need to find somebody else. And I'm somewhat hesitant to appoint somebody that Ms. Young does not know. And it sounds like Mr. Miller doesn't know very well. On the other hand,
I mean, I know her. I just don't know like her age.
On the other hand, the whole time that Ms. Salisbury, well, at least most of the time she'll be with Malaya, so will Ms. Young. And it's hard for me to imagine that Ms. Salisbury would be any kind of threat to Ms. Young.
Would he be okay with my stepmom?
No.
I think I want to try Cassie Salisbury next. And honestly, the best thing that can happen is to get Ms. Corey paid so that she can do her investigation so that we can move forward with this. All right. Mr. Miller indicated that he's leaving this weekend. If do we have Zoom visits at 7? At some point?
That's what I meant. I'd try to find service for the Zoom.
Okay. Let's have a Zoom visit this weekend. Tell me what date and time that's going to occur, Mr. Miller, so that we're not confused about that.
Oh, we can do Saturday at 7.
7 p.m.
Yeah. Or can we do earlier? Like 3 or 4?
I'll be at work.
Well, what time? What time's good?
I get off work at 5.
Okay, we'll do 5. 6.
Better do 6. All right, Saturday at 6 will be a Zoom visit. Nobody should be interfering with that. That should be a discussion just between Ms. Young and Malaya. The next Saturday will be a supervised visit. The next Saturday, I want Cassie Salisbury to meet Ms. Young at GC's.
Could we do a visit at her baseball game so I can see her at baseball?
Where is that? Down in Longview?
Yes, but I would love to see my kid play baseball.
Do you know when that is?
On Mondays.
Okay.
So how does that work with the restraining order, though?
There shouldn't be a restraining order.
I'll tell you in a moment.
I don't mind standing on the other side of the field.
Let's talk about the Saturday visit first. So are you going to want to go up either? Well, what would be your thought on what you would do with Malaya on the Saturday visit?
She wanted to go to the Hands-On Children's Museum. Last time I talked to her, that's what we were going to do. We usually go to the park. We went and got our nails done last time, but she wanted to go to the Hands-On Children's Museum.
And where is that?
Olympia.
It's in Olympia. Okay.
The door is open. Samantha's in her room.
Okay. All right. Well, let's meet at.
Or we're going to take her to go see the Mermaid movie, The Little Mermaid. I'd like to take her to see that.
Okay. Let's meet at GC's truck stop at 10 a.m. on June 3rd. And we'll have Cassie Salisbury bring her there. And then Cassie Salisbury will need to accompany them on whatever outing they have that goes to Olympia. She'll need to go to Olympia. And then I'd like a return to the GC's point by 6 p.m. on Saturday. And then Cassie can bring Malaya back to Mr. Miller. I know that sounds a little bit convoluted, but I'm not willing to take a step towards unsupervised visits at this point till I hear from the guardian ad litem. And I want to do what I can in order to get you in-person visits with your daughter. In terms of Monday baseball games.
Sorry to interrupt. They just said that Cassie can do 2 to 5 on Saturday.
2 to 5?
Yeah, that's kind of short.
Cameron, can you please swallow your pride for once and know that that is it okay that she's with my grandparents, and you know this. And with
the visit on
is
the
how
visit,
sorry.
The visit on Saturday is going to be 10 to 6. If Ms. Salisbury can't do it.
Okay, that works.
I really hope it works.
All right. The Monday baseball games, I'm going to allow, there needs to be a 50-foot distance between Mr. Miller and Ms. Young at the baseball game. Malaya will be able to come over, talk to Ms. Young, but obviously can't leave with her. And Ms. Young will be able to observe the game. You'll have to obviously be on separate parts of the baseball field.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Okay.
And if Cassie can't do it on Saturday, what happens then? Because I didn't get to see her last week either.
I know. I'm probably going to have to put I hate having you come back so often, but it looks like I need to track this. We're going to need to come back on June 8th to see if that visitation occurred and to see how the baseball games go.
Okay.
I don't know that Ms. Corey's going to have any conclusion by then. Probably not, but I want to check to see how these are going. And if they don't go, then I'll have to make some other decisions. Okay. Mr. Kamisa, any comment at this point?
No, Your Honor. Sounds like everything's been discussed. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll do a bench order to that effect, and we'll see everybody back here, I guess, in a couple weeks on June 8th. Thank you.
Thank you.